Hey everybody, this is another one of the videos I recorded on my Southwest trip I just got back from a few days ago. This is the Coal Mine Canyon on Navajo ground in Arizona, not terribly far from the Grand Canyon. It's actually the closest city is Tuba City in Arizona, and you take Route 264 south on that, about 15-16 miles from Tuba City, and you'll come to Coal Mine Canyon. Again, this is a Native American land, and if you want to hike into the canyon itself, you're going to need to get a permit. It's like $12 or something like that. I think $12 per day. But in any case, you would pick that up in the town of Cameron. But if you're not going to hike into the canyon, that isn't necessary. So on this, for this video, I actually did 3 flights, and I kind of moved to a couple of different locations so I could cover greater territory. And you know, it's like a sort of like a baby Grand Canyon. It's not nearly as deep, obviously. One of the interesting features, and it's more obvious later on, is this: a little bit below the top, you see a couple lines of black, layers of black. I'll point it out a little bit more later. It's more obvious later. But I suspect that's from one of the volcanoes, which are not far, dormant volcanoes, obviously, not far from the area, between here and the Grand Canyon, in fact. A little bit south of this location. So we have, I don't think we would quite call these hoodoos, but there are definitely spires and fins. This was late in the afternoon of February 16th, 2017. I'd arrived in the area late in the afternoon and planned on just getting a hotel, and my plan was to do the video the next day. But the clouds to the west looked a little bit iffy, and so I checked the weather, and sure enough, the weather was going to be rainy and cloudy the next few days. So I quickly changed plans and did the flights late that afternoon on the 16th. Kind of looks like a big sail. A couple big sails. So that's definitely more of the fin type formation. And there's some sort of darker grayish, not quite charcoalish looking materials towards the top of this butte or mesa. Again, more fins. Somewhat like Bryce Canyon, the big amphitheater they have in Bryce. Now this is a little deeper into the canyon from another location. I drove my car on the, I guess it would be the west side of the canyon on some dirt roads. I wouldn't recommend a passenger car on that road. Definitely a Jeep or 4-wheel drive vehicle would be preferred, but I risked it, and but I wouldn't recommend it. And again, if you look just below the top layer of this, you see a couple stripes of black. Almost looks like pinstriping. That's a pretty dark charcoalish black look to it. So once again, I suspect that's from volcanism of some form. And again, Sunrise Crater and some of the other ones that are really not that far, less than 100 miles for sure. And then there the pinstriping is even more obvious. Again, just below the top sort of layer. And this was about the furthest extent, kind of bank to left here, and so this be looking sort of northwest. And heading back. So I have no idea how long this canyon has been here, or why, in fact, it is called Coal Mine Canyon. I don't see any direct evidence of coal mining in the area, but yeah, I could be wrong. This is, one of these areas, little gems that people don't know about. And again, it's not very far from the Grand Canyon, so if people are in the area, where do they go? They're going to go to the Grand Canyon, obviously. So a place like this, not very far from it, is kind of missed. Now I do this sort of long pull back and tilt up at the same time. That fin formation remains in pretty much the same spot in the frame as I pull back and tilt up. Continuing to pull back, and we're getting close to the end. One more sort of backtracking over this section here. You got some nice kind of reds, and again that kind of grayish look. And we are just about at the end, and I thank you for watching. Thank you very much.